I'm going to be reading the Intuitive Numerology of David Vaughan Icke. So I'm really excited about this. I thought I want to do some people in the Great Awakening, Ascension, Golden Age, whatever you want to call it. I want to do people in that movement because I think it will be really interesting. And I'd rather connect to the energy of people who are awake and a bit more good with the times, you know, good with the vibes. And yeah, and I find David Icke just such an interesting character. So yeah, like, let's just crack on and get into it. So he's got a lot of really interesting numbers, and you know, even just like stuff like up here. So yeah, it's not even really like, I'm not just going to read his numbers and the positions. I like to look at stuff like this. 5 2 3 2 5. Like, wow, that's a heck of a key code. You know, you've got the Master 55, which is a master leader, like a master way shower for new times. And they're quite spiritual, and because they're a master way shower, they have intelligence, of higher intelligence, from that level of 55 mastery, because the 5 holds, it's a natural channeler. So it just natural channeling information. You know, a lot of the time that's just like what I do, basically, just a talker. You've got a talker on your hands. So yeah, so if we take these 5s as like a doorway, and then the 2s as a doorway, and then you've got the 3 in the middle. So actually, I'll just go back for that. So yeah, you've got the 5s and then the 2s. So I've already spoken about the 5s. So the 2s would be like so you've got this master way shower inside a master builder. And then the goal, or like the end result, is happiness, joy, expressiveness, creativity. It's like the divine masculine of God's numbers. So God's numbers are 3, 6, and 9. It's the golden mean ratio. So the 3 is like the Christ consciousness, the masculine version. And then the 6 is the feminine, because it's births, deaths, and marriages. And then the 9 is God. I may go into that more depending on his numbers. Probably not, actually, in his case. But it is very interesting. I should do a video about the 3, 6, and 9. But anyway, that's beside the point. So, so he's got this master way shower, enlightened one, divine intellect leader inside a master builder 22. And then those gateways lead to the 3, which is fun and joy and expressiveness. And yeah, as I said, that divine masculine energy, you know, that Christ consciousness, because it's the 3, it's Trinity, but then it also has, it's perceived that Jesus was walking a master 33 life path. And yeah, so, and it's perceived he was 33 when he died. So the 3s are like intrinsically tied to the divine masculine. And then, yeah, as I said, the 6 is a whole other thing. Anyway, but the other interesting thing is you've got, I will just erase those. Okay, I've got my pen. So we've got this like little gateway here, and then also he's got 22 there. So it's just really interesting. He's got these little key codes and patterns and little repeats, you know, and most people have this. Some people don't. It makes your numbers a bit more complicated, but also varied, and can actually mean you're a bit more balanced if you've got sort of a bit of everything, which David does have, to be fair. I've seen numbers with synchronicity that just blows your mind. Yeah, and this is quite balanced, to be honest. But yeah, so in the full breakdown of David, he's got 22, which is the master builder. They're very enlightened, and it's a very soft, sensitive energy, because the 2s are very sensitive, you know, and they break down to a 4, which is the building. So it's the master builder. But yeah, because of the twos, it's a very sensitive number. It's people with this 22 energy are very sensitive and have quite hearts of gold, tend to do some kind of energy work, you know, like even if it's just praying, you know, like my brother is a 22 master builder life path, and he's just like, he's got a heart of gold, you know. He's not like into the kind of stuff I'm into, but he prays. He prays all the time. We were both raised like that, and even though we're both not religious anymore, we both still pray every day, you know. Like he'll pray. He works in a dangerous job, so he'll pray before he goes to work. He'll pray while he's on the job, you know. We both do that, you know. I see like a teenager walking down the side of the road and I pray, or you know, emergency services going by, we pray. So they all have their own little energy work that they do, even if it's more like on a practical sort of old-fashioned level, like with the prayer. But yeah, so the master builder is very sensitive and usually ends up doing some kind of energy work. Yeah, but just very soft energy because the twos are so sensitive. And they're light bearing, so they can shine light on an issue and then the issue gets like brought to the surface and shaken up because of that 4 foundational, because 4s can be grounded and they can be like everyone's rock, but at the same time it can represent your foundations being rocked or shattered or just like ripped out from underneath you. So, and because it's a master number, it's more primed for causing a bit of trouble. It's not just a straight 4, because when it's a master number, we take the 22, and master numbers can be difficult. And it's not the only master number he's got. So, you know, he's also got the 11 over here, and that's his day of birth. He also has an 11 in Vaughan. I think that was the only 2. Yeah. So I've got some past year's numerology, but I'm not going to do the future because that's none of our business, quite frankly. And yeah, I can't imagine I'd have any earth-shattering information, but I wouldn't want to give any dark forces of this world any information about figureheads that have helped humanity. So I'm not going to do that. I'll only talk about the past and about as a person, but I'm not going to talk about the future. I'm not going to read future numbers. So in the position of your day of birth, oh, hang on, I need to swap pens. Here we go. So in your day of birth, that represents your gifts. You know, it's what you want to give back to the world on a daily basis, and it's what you're good at, you know. So the 11 is the master of enlightenment, of illumination, you know, of higher wisdom and knowledge. It can be quite creative, as I think all the master numbers are, because they want to master whatever they do. You know, and sometimes that means you have to get creative in order to make that happen. So yeah, so the 11 is quite a soft energy as well, because 1 + 1 = 2. And even though we only take really the strongest energy from a master number is just the master number, on a practical day though, it can break down and it still holds that extra energy of whatever it breaks down to. So yeah, it is a light bearer because it's got that 2 energy, and it is, again, very sensitive. It can also, I find with the 11 energy, it can also be quite a master weaver. You know, it can weave information, people, it can weave just about anything together. And then because he's got 22 energy as well, you know, the master builder and then extra 2s. So 2s can be a weaving number. It is, because it's about connections. It can be diplomatic and a good mediator. But yeah, so it's just, it is a very sensitive number. 11 people with 11 energy, I tend to find they have difficulty sticking to one thing, because when you've got mastering energy, you want to master everything, or you want to master to the top of whatever it is you're trying to do. And sometimes because they have this thirst for knowledge, because it's illumination, they have this thirst for knowledge, so they want to try and it's like, okay, I'll study that. And then it's like, oh, that's really interesting. Okay. But, oh, look at that. And they just, sometimes they end up training in multiple different degrees, you know, multiple different trades, or they'll go to the top of their field and then they'll do the specialty at the top of their field, and then they'll do a niche specialty. Like they just can't help themselves. They've got to master, and they've got to learn and grow in their knowledge. And I think that he's done that in his own very unique way. So, so yeah, those are his gifts for the world. He is the master of illumination. I mean, look what he's done with his life. He's illuminated and shone light and knowledge on things that before him, no one, well, not no one, but very, very few people had on their radar at all. And, you know, he's exposed all of us to information that we needed to change this planet. So in his month of birth, we've got this 4. So I always like to look at other places that people have these numbers. So I'm just going to have a quick look. Nowhere that really sticks out. So I don't think it super aspects any of his numbers. But yeah, so your 4 is your strength and your struggle. So it's a foundational number, which is interesting. So it kind of aspects here because the 22 breaks down to the 4 and it's the master builder. So he does have this grounded energy in his month of birth. So because it's your strength and your struggle, like, yes, it can give you a bit of difficulty, but, you know, he is a rock for a lot of people. And yeah, even if that's just the knowledge that he's provided for people, you know, once you can understand things and understand your world, you can, I think it grounds you, and you don't feel so out of control because you don't understand why anything's happening. It's just, everything feels like chaos. But once you understand, yeah. Oh God, I've got sniffles. So yeah, because it's your strength and your struggle though, people who have it in this kind of position, you can have the foundations of your life just sort of ripped out from under you, or, you know, just rocked. So you'll feel on really strong footing, and then just all of a sudden it's just like yank, and you're like, what did I do? Like, you did nothing. It's just, it's a part of the challenge. And because he has a master 22, and see, your name, your first name, that's what people know you by. You know, when you're a little kid, they don't call you like, well, not anymore, maybe in his day, I don't think so. You know, they probably wouldn't have called him, like, you know, when they call little kids, like really old fashioned, like 1800s, like master, like little, like they'd be like, oh, Master Icke or whatever. But I think that was a bit before his time. And so people know you as your first name. It's like, you know, David, like that's what your parents call you, that's what your friends call you. It has a strong resonance. So yeah, probably I think he probably felt like he had a strong, stable childhood, but it probably also had difficulties with foundational stuff, you know, like basic needs being met, because of the position of the 4, and because it aspects his 22 in his name, which I think your first name is very closely linked to your childhood because it's what everyone calls you. So yeah, his heart's desire in childhood was this one year. I think he probably wanted to be a leader, and he wanted new beginnings, and probably was quite courageous. Yeah. I should also be looking at patterns. Oh yes, he does have other key codes as well, which is quite interesting. So I'll just clean this up a bit. I haven't even got to his life path yet. Probably should get on that. But yes, let's see here. Like, where do I want to go next? There's so much to talk about. Well, we'll finish with his birth date first before I get carried away on his name. So 1952 comes to 17, which comes to 8. So 8s can be quite hard work, and they're a karmic number. And I think that potentially it could have given him a bit of extra trouble, because your year of birth, everyone who incarnates into their life in that year, that is karma that you're burning off for the planet. So you've got a karmic number in a karmic position. And 8's a hard work. So yeah, it's probably has presented him with a bit of challenge in his life, but that might be his, that seems to be his only 8. Well, he's only 8 in a prominent position. And he doesn't have any really recently. Anyway, so yeah, because he's got this 8 in this karmic position, he probably has had a hard life at times, and he's had to work really hard to manage and build his way in the world, because 8s are all about organization, management. It's a big manifester because it's a money number. You know, if you can organize yourself and manage your money, you can manifest and you can have money. And if you work hard, what you put out in the world will come back to you. So I see it as, so people think that the 8 is the infinity symbol, right? But the 8 presents upstanding. It doesn't present like this. So to me, 8 is more as above, so below. So, you know, what you put out in the world will come back to you. So yeah, I don't actually see the 8 as infinity for that reason. And also because of the way I have observed that the 9 works. And the 9 is God's number. It's the true infinity. Add as many 9s as you want in a row. And, you know, just do it until you have an obscenely huge number. And then take that number and add up the final result, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, and reduce it back to a single digit. It will come back to a 9. So either way, in either direction, it is a 9. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he does have other key codes. Okay, we'll talk about that when I get his name. So yeah, anyway. So, oh, I did forget to look at 3s. Well, he's only got 1 3, and that's not too bad. He's got a 3 there. He probably, and a 3 there. Okay. Yeah, that is something else to talk about. Okay, let me just highlight that so that I don't forget to talk about that, because that is definitely a thing that we need to talk about. And then, okay, so I will talk about those in a minute. So yeah, the 8's probably given him a bit of trouble. But if you honor the 8, you will be rewarded, you know, and because it's energy that you're burning off for the planet, and it's energy that he's been burning off for the planet. I mean, the fact that he's been as successful as he has, and because he's woken up a whole bloody planet of people. Like, how many people is he responsible for waking up? A lot. So I think he's really done what he needed to do for the planet, and he's being rewarded for it now. So like, all that success that he's got now, like, totally deserved, because I mean, I can't imagine how hard it was being awake for all those years, and everyone else is just like sleeping on by. Oh my God. Okay, so we'll talk about these 3s. So this isn't a super prominent position up here, but you know, it's there. I'm just going to remove those, and we'll, yeah. So we've got these different aspects of these 3s. Okay, here we go. So yeah, we've got 3 3s. Can you work, please? There we go. I'm still getting used to this. Okay, so I usually find that people who have a bit of an overbalance of 3s, or like 2 or more in prominent positions. So, you know, your final result before you get to the breakdown of your life path is fairly significant. Like, I'm a 36-9. So that's 369. That's pretty important. You know, it's in the breakdown of your life path. And then he's got a 3 there. And then he's got a 3 in his personality, for David, which is how other people see you. So as you were when you were a kid, so people probably saw him like he was a bit of a class clown. My nephew's a 3 life path, and he is a class clown. He's always smiling and laughing and joking, and he's very silly, and it's hard to get him to like calm down. He's better now, but when he was younger, oh, forget it. So I think when he was younger, he was probably really was a bit of a class clown, because, you know, your first name is, it's very intrinsically tied to your childhood. And then you've got this 3 down here in his heart's desire. So yeah, it was his heart's desire to be playful, fun, happy, but every number has its good points, its bad points. You know, I say that because the 4 is your foundations, it can be, everyone's rock and very stable, but at the same time, it can just, your foundations can be ripped out from under you. Like, all numbers have this balance, good points, bad points. It just depends how they're affecting you and how you walk with them, because some people walk more gracefully with numbers than others. You know, everything is meant to challenge us, to help us. So, you know, but so the challenge of the 3 is the energy of the martyr, because, you know, as I said before, it's like that divine masculine energy. It's tied to Jesus, so it's tied to that martyr energy. And I find that usually expresses itself with either abuse or like growing up in an abusive environment, any kind of abuse, but especially in childhood, I find it is bullying and harassment. So yeah, and it's just, for sure he was bullied probably pretty badly when he was a kid, because it's in his heart's desire for his full breakdown. It's in his personality and it's in his life path. So yeah, that would not have been very fun at all. Okay, so his life path breaks down to a 5. So the 5 is all about balance, freedom, movement, and change. And actually, he's got a second one in 1952. So that is quite interesting. He's got a bit of a overbalance there in energy. So yeah, and when it's something like your life path, if you have more of it, it tends to present more of a problem. But yeah, so 5s are all about balance, freedom, movement, and change. It's a natural channeler. It can be quite a chatty number. You know, people who have 5 energy will just, spit out truth at you. So yeah, and that's his life path. He was meant to come in to channel information, you know, and sometimes that's just a knowing. Sometimes it's a psychic thing. Sometimes it's seeking out information and presenting it to other people. So like, it's honestly, he's done it. Like, he has mastered that, and he's been doing it, and yeah, like, well done. Because, you know, any life path is just a potential. You know, any master number is just a potential. It's not a given that a person is going to reach a level of mastery. It's not a given that they're going to walk the life path that they've been given. All energy is just a potential. So yeah, but you know, he's done it. What's the other thing? It is good to have a 7. There's a 7 here, because 7s are heaven blessed, and that's the other thing about 3s. Lucky number 3. So he has been very lucky, but he is also very blessed because he's got this 7 down here as well. So yeah, he's got a 7 in the breakdown of his year, and then he's got a 7 in the full breakdown of his name as a final result. That's a prominent position. So 7s are quite whoa, oh my god, massive, like, head spin. Whoa. Wow. Okay. Wow. God. Sometimes when I'm doing this, I experience what other people experience. So I was just about to start talking about the analytical and the reason and the study and the intellect of the 7. So 7s are quite, it's about self-development and going within, and it's a very sensitive energy. Oh my God, that was crazy. It was like getting a huge energetic download, like boom. I'm like, whoa. I've had that before in the past, so it doesn't scare me, but I'm like, that's what it's like for him when he is chasing down leads and trying to figure things out. Like, he'll feel it when it's real and when it's right. It's like yeah, and I think that because sevens have got that reason, because the seven is highly intuitive and highly sensitive. It's heaven blessed. So it's like protected by heaven and got heaven's luck. So I mean, thank God his full name vibration comes out to that seven, because with the work that he's done his whole life, he needed that protection. He needed that heaven's luck. So I love that. Oh my God, that was mad. That was mad. Oh my God. So he probably, even though like he gets these intuitive downloads for sure, and it might also be like a sometimes like a confirmation of when he's looking at something, and then he gets like this energy and it's like, okay, yes, I'm on the right path. And then he'll like a hound dog, like keep following that and see what he can find, or wait for it to come back around and to experience that again with the same subject matter that he's been researching. And it's like, okay, yes, confirmation. Now the other interesting thing is, because, and I'm really glad to see this, because he's got this 3 here, you've got 7, heaven blessed, you've got heaven's luck, and then you've got this 3, which is lucky number 3 in his heart's desire. And these are both prominent positions. So like, thank God, because I think those have really seen him do very well in his life and protect him. Now something else that I've just noticed, so that we've got this 5 down here. So this is his full breakdown of his personality for all 3 of his names. So his full personality vibration. So the way other people see him. So I think if we take this up here, people see him as, because it aspects his life path, people see him as walking with integrity his life path. And I really like to see stuff like this when numbers aspect your personality, because it lends a bit of a credence to you with that integrity and living in your authenticity. And so I find it helps people to resonate with you better, because it's like, oh, like they are in synchronicity with their life or with themselves. So quite like, if he had a 5 here, this is it. Oh dear, let's try that again. So if he had a 5, oh, hang on, just bear with me. So if he had a 5 here instead of a 7, his full vibration and his personality, how other people see him, would literally be who he is. I did Princess Diana's, and hers was like this. And if you think about her life and the way people felt about her, everyone thinks that she was this lovely, benevolent person, but she really was. She really was. Because when you see mirrors like that, it just, yeah, it shows that there's a resonance there and there's a synchronicity there. And because it's how other people see you, and there's that resonance and that synchronicity with the life path, people see him as being in synchronistic and authentic and integral flow with their life path, or wherever the numbers aspect. So that is quite interesting. I really like that. But yeah, I'm so glad that he's got these, oh dear, bit of a mess. Here we go. Oh my, just good Lord. I'm a bit messy. I need to do this every day because otherwise I forget how to use this. Okay. So yeah, I just love that he's got these. What have I done? What? Just don't even ask me. I don't know. Anyway, so I love that he's got all that luck, all those blessings, all that protection from heaven, because yeah, I'm sure he would have had a lot more trouble in his life if he hadn't had that. So yeah, thank God. Yeah, What else do I want? Oh, that's right. That's right. So what colors? I'll do this. So we've got a key code here. Then we'll swap colors, and then we've got a key code here. And then it expresses here as well. So these aren't super prominent. They're just sort of like a little spice in your energy. So yeah, you've got a little gateway here. And the interesting thing about this is that it's all in his first name, right? I don't think that, oh, there are some other little key codes. There's at least one I can see. Yeah, I'll go into his other names in a minute. Oh, yes, okay. So if I got the, I'll talk about that one in a minute. So up here, so 4s, as I said, it's a foundational number. It's a building number. It can be quite stable. The Master 44 is the master of the new earth, the new world. It's master building the new world, and managing it and bringing it into fruition. It's about hard-won knowledge. And yeah, the 44 energy is very, like all master numbers, it's a high vibe and it can be quite sensitive, but at the same time, because it's got 2 4s, it's very grounded. And then it breaks down to an 8, which is also a very grounded number. And yeah, it's a beautiful energy. It's a beautiful energy. So he's got that. So he's got 2 4s. He's got that 44 energy and then a 1 in the middle. So he's got the master building the new earth and then leadership. So by master building the new earth, he's, and really he has, he has, because he's woken up so many people and been a leader. So I think he has used this little key code here, because you've got 1 is all about courage, independence, leadership, new beginnings, you know. So he's used that doorway of the new earth, and he's been a leader. So yeah, and then, you know, we've got this one, which is interesting because it's also a 4, a master builder of the new earth gateway to this 9. So 9s are, it's quite a blessed number because it's God's number. It's infinite. It goes, you know, if you add all the 9s together and then reduce it back to a 9, it's a 9 in both directions. It's infinite. It's God's true infinity number. So yeah, he had this second key code. Oh, that looks like dirty things. It looked like a butt. Oh my God. Okay, so yeah, he's got this second, oh dear. Well, I didn't mean to undo that, but here we are. Oh my God. Okay. I think I've swapped this, but that's fine. But yeah. So he's got this second master builder of the new earth gateway to infinity and to the blessings of the 9 and to completion. So it's interesting that it's here, it's new beginnings, and then here it's completion. Like, so he always had the capability to see his life path of leading people into the new earth and leading people into the truth of the old earth so that we could get to the new earth. Because, you know, the illumination of the 11 and then the master builder, like, his numbers are amazing. Incredible. So like, he's done his life exactly what he's meant to. And then, you know, it expresses in his personality as this 444. Like, you know, so people see him as having this ability for breakthrough, you know, because it's a master builder, and you know, you have to break into the new foundations. You have to, you know, what is it? Breaking ground, like, you know, when you break ground for a new project or whatever it is. So it's a breakthrough number. and people do see him as a bit of a rock, and like I sort of see him as like the grandfather of all of this. And there were probably people that came before him or around the same time, but he was meant to do this in a big way because he's got all these key codes, and he's used them. He's absolutely used them, which is incredible. Because any numbers in your energy, it's just a potential. It's not a given that you're going to step into that energy. You're not going to necessarily be the master, but I think he has. He has utilized what he was given at birth, and he's done an excellent job with it. So more energy. Oh, I've done it again. Okay, so you've got this energy down here. This is in Icke. So it's just an extra little tie. So you've got 32, 5. And then we go up here and you've got 32, 5. It's just a repeating of the energy. So it just reinforces that he was born into the right family. He was given the right name. He had the right day of birth. It's all synchronistic. So I love that. That's beautiful. And then, of course, interestingly, oh, that's right. Yes, I'll say more about his family. I'll leave that stuff up there because that's kind of interesting. Okay. So this will go for the whole Icke family. Now, what color? Perhaps we'll do purple. So the full vibration for Icke is 19-10-1. So that could be a little frustrating because it's not a lengthy name. It's quite a short name. It's 4 letters. So to have this 19-10-1, it's like everything can be a process, I think, in that family. Because like to have such a short surname, but the process is involved to get to that final result, and then but for him as a person, things probably happen fairly quickly because it's 70 and then 7. It's not always, usually for a name you have a longer breakdown, like with these with his surname, it's usually longer in this position, like in your final results, but it's not. So that's quite interesting. But yeah, so for his family, like sometimes I think it can be a little bit like drawing teeth when you try and bring everyone together. It's like, okay, we're going to get lunch on the table at this time. And then it's just sort of like, you eventually get there, you eventually get to that new beginning and that one and leadership and courage and, you get there in the end, but it's a bit involved for such a short name. So the heart's desire. Oh, good Lord. All right. So the heart's desire for Icke is actually a 5. So it's very familiar energy because it's in his life path. And then also it's the same for his personality. So the Icke family, everyone who carries that vibration, whether they marry into the family and take that name or they're born into it and given that name from birth, they all have leadership energy. The full vibration of Icke is leaders. They were born to be leaders. So the fact that his sons work with him in what he does is just perfect. That's exactly as it should be, because they were all born leaders with that surname. And it's your family, and if you're going to work together with anyone with leadership energy, you're probably going to be working with your family. So yeah, their heart's desire is this balance, freedom, movement, and change. In some instances that could be beneficial because balancing a family life is, what else is family other than trying to balance everything? So it could be beneficial in that way because it's in the heart's desire. It's like you want that balance, you want that freedom. You want everyone to be free but also balanced. Is that all I want to say about it in that position? I think so. And then the 5, people see them as balanced. So people see them as being integrity with what their family wants and what they create together. Oh, that's right. So the sort of flip, all numbers have like a bit of a flip side. So in that kind of position with a 5 in a family number in the heart's desire, I think sometimes for some families it could represent issues with abandonment, because some people will take that balance, freedom, movement and change, and it's more of like they want the freedom, you know, they want that for themselves. And so rather than it being like translated to a family way, it's like, I've got to get balance and freedom and movement and change, and I've got to get out of here. So yeah, I think that with a number like that, like a 5 or a 1 really in your heart's desire for family could present an issue. Yeah, but really only those two, I think. Yeah, really only those two present an issue for potential abandonment issues, because, you know, the ones are like new beginnings and yeah, independence, and then the 5 is like balance and freedom and movement and change. And it's like they both have, because 1 is like the first pinnacle, the 5 is in the middle, and then the 9 is at the end, and the 5 is in the middle. It's like, it's kind of like a new beginning but in the middle. So they both sort of carry that energy of freeing people up and wanting to get outside of themselves and yeah, I think it just depends how people walk with the energy. Yeah, so, you know, in the wrong hands, that could be problematic. I don't know if it was ever problematic for him with regards to either of his parents, or, you know, his I'm guessing Ike came from his dad because he's of that generation. Yeah, that potentially it could have been like his parents that were abandoned, or his parents. There could be a little bit of that in the history or in the energy. It just depends how people walk with the energy. But I don't think he would have had a problem. He would not have had a problem with this, because it's his life path and he's walked it just fine. And then it comes down to his full personality. So I don't think he personally would have had any issues with this. So like he would have never abandoned his sons, because he came in to learn balance. So I don't think he would have had any kind of notions of escaping. Yeah, I mean, they work together, so there's, yeah, I don't think it manifested in that way. But if anything, possibly his parents or his parents' parents, there was maybe a bit of an abandonment issues. Let's see. I don't talk a whole lot about middle names because I don't know, I just don't, unless people take their middle name as their first name, because that it becomes a very prominent position there, you know. I mean, I didn't know his middle name was Vaughan until I Googled it. You know, like, it's not, it contributes to the full vibration, so it is important in that respect. And, you know, obviously he's got this 11 here, which, you know, he's got 2 lots of it because it's in his birthday. So he was meant to have that name because, you know, I mean, it gave him these numbers, and I think that 7 and that 3 were quite important for keeping him safe and getting him through everything that he needed to get through in his life to get to this point and being in a level of mastery. And because he's used all these key codes, he's used them, you know, he has become a master builder. He's a master of enlightenment. You know, he's a master at breakthroughs and leading the new earth, you know, over here as well. Like he's used all of it. It's kind of amazing actually, because any numbers is just a potential. It's not a given. It's not a given. It's interesting because he does have that, you know, he's got that 5 again, you know, so he is absolutely in authenticity. And then obviously he's got an extra 5 there, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That's nice. Let me see. Is that all the 5s he's got? I like to look at like the prominent positions. So yeah, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And then so 25, you just do 1 + 1, comes to a 7. So that's, I love synchronicity. It's fantastic. All right, let's just wave away all this mess. Oh dear. But yeah, like, he has used all these key codes. He's used them. Like, bloody well done, mate, because, you know, it's just a potential. It's just a potential. It's not a given. Oh, and that's it. That is interesting, actually, because if you look at this 11 and then this 11, it's the same. It's 2911, 2911. You know, I just love stuff like that because it just shows you that, yes, it's completely synchronistic. It was meant to be. There are no mistakes with numbers. God does not make mistakes. Yes. Yeah, I don't think I really want to say much more about his name. Because as I said, I just don't find that it's super important. It's just a part of the energy. But it's not, yeah, I will leave it highlighted though. And then we'll get blue and we'll leave this highlighted. And we'll highlight all the 5s actually. I think that will be helpful. There we go. Because it just shows the synchronicity, and I think that that's helpful and a good reminder. Do the 22. Because that's kind of important too. And we'll go back to this one. This is really pretty. Okay, so we'll come down here. So 2019, that year for him was all about endings, about finishing things off. Got a bit of repeating energy here. So you've got the 2s, got the 9s. Oh yeah, extra 2 here, sorry. Oh dear. Oh, and then 12 comes down to a 3. Like, well done, Claire. Good Lord. So then, you know, another 2. So very sensitive year for him. So yeah, the energy for the world, like the karma for the world that we're all working with as a collective that year, but everyone who is born into that year, obviously, they'll be working with that energy for their entire lives. So yeah, it comes down to a 3. So we were all, and him from that birthday. So the 11th of April 2019 until the 11th of April 2020. He was in that karmic world energy of the divine masculine, and yeah, like sorting through that energy of, I think with the divine masculine energy, because patriarchal has been so manipulated and lost in the nuance and the beauty and what it can be, when we're dealing with that kind of energy in a karmic position, it's like we're trying to break out of the old ways of being a patriarch and find the divine masculine in that patriarchal energy, and drawing that out. So yeah, I don't know what that meant for him. I will feel back into that in a minute. Let me see. You know, of course, he's always got this mastery energy. Oh my God, why? Okay. Oh, so yeah, he's always got that illumination of the 11. He's always working that. But yeah, a very sensitive year for him. With all those 2s. And potentially for him, a lot of endings, and he may have been taken advantage of in that year, and then he might have still been dealing with it. Let me go back. He may have still been dealing with that energy. What colour? I'll do purple. So we'll do Good Lord, why? Oh, okay. So he's got 9 there, 9 there, 9 there, 9 here, and 9 here. So, and then the next year, the next year down here is just back to 1, 9. So I feel like 2019, there was a potential that either someone tried to take advantage of him and potentially take him down, or because 9s are benevolent and they give of service. It's a humanitarian number. It's very creative. It's very psychic. It's very sensitive. And because it's got that humanitarian energy, whenever I see an overbalance, I'm like, oh, you were probably taken advantage of. And for some people, if it's in your birth date, you've probably been experiencing being taken advantage of through your whole life, and it's something you have to be careful of. So I think in 2019, especially because the lesson comes down to a 9 that year, it's finishing things off, but because there's this overbalance of the 9s, and it's very sensitive with all those 2s, and the 3 can be a martyr. Yeah, I feel like he probably got woken up about something that year, through that whole year. And then, as I said, because he's got these 9s here, there was still a bit of an overbalance that next year, and he was still dealing with it a little bit the year after. So whatever happened, whoever tried to take advantage of him or take him down, or I don't know, but it didn't work because he's still here. So yeah, that 7, the 7 and the 3 took care of him. And he had a 3 there, so even if someone had tried to make him a martyr that year, it didn't work because that energy resonates with him in a positive way, and then he's got the 7 to back him up again. So, good fucking luck, jerks. So the next year he was still dealing with that 9 energy, and it was like a bit of a because it's 19 and then it's 10 and then it's 1, and you finally get to that new beginning. So it was probably a little bit like pulling teeth. And by his birthday this year in April, he was like, it would have been over, but he just probably would have been like, thank fucking God for that. So I don't know what happened, but something happened with all those 9s. That's a massive overbalance. And yeah, because his strength and struggle is a 4, whatever this energy was with the 9s, probably did mess with his foundations a bit. So I don't know what that was. Oh, I wonder if he got taken off YouTube no, I think he got taken off YouTube in 2020, but something else happened that year for sure. So 2020 was all about new beginnings for him, which honestly would have been a relief after that. That 9 would have been a massive relief. But as I said, it would have taken him a while to get to that new beginning. So it's a bit vexing. And, everyone who was in 2020 had to deal with the illumination of the 2, and then a reset and complete suspension and just everything. It's like the Hanged Man. Oops, sorry, you're not moving anywhere. And then super sensitive, shining light. Shining light and awakening things and being like, oh, look at that. Okay, now have a break and digest it again and sit still. Because to me, most numerologists don't actually count the zeros. But I actually do. I count it as 0 point God energy. So yeah, 2020 was sensitive, and then complete reset, stand still, 0 point God energy, which, I mean, yeah, because everyone got put in house arrest multiple times. So shining light, sitting still, shining light, sitting still. So yeah, that would have been a bit of a pain in the ass as well. It probably he had a lot of holdups in 2019 because you've got the slow progression here, and then you've got things are happening, shining light, and then it's like, oh wait, hang on, hold up, and then things are happening again and shining light, and there's need for diplomacy and mediation and making connections, and it's like, oh no, hold your horses. So yeah, with this energy and then this energy, it was probably a fucking nightmare. And then also his strength and struggle was aspecting the year as a whole. So 2020 probably felt very frustrating for him. Probably it was like a culmination of like the last 30 plus years of telling people this is going to happen, and then it's actually fucking happening and people still aren't listening. It's like, I'm trying to lead and show people what the fuck is going on and no one is listening to me. Oh dear. He probably did have a lot of hope, but at the same time, it's like, you know, people not listening to you does wear fucking thin. It's like his whole life has been about this. People are like, oh no, not that nutter. Like, vindicated. Thank God. I'm so glad that he's alive for all of this. And yeah, he gets to experience, it's like, I fucking tried to tell you. Like, I tried. Oh, so I love that. I love that for him. Like, can't imagine what he's been through, my God. So 2021, so more twos, like, good Lord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 twos. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot to deal with. So he might have had some repeating lessons this year, actually, because you've got this 2020 here, and yeah, okay, it's 2021, but the 20 comes out here, so that's interesting. So yeah, because it's his in a karmic position in that year, and it's the energy we were all dealing with. He was still dealing with a bit of a hangover of it from this year. Yes, but he would have been a lot more comfortable from his birthday this year, because it comes out to this 5, and that's his life path. And whenever you've got energy there that you, because your life path and your day of birth it's very close to the energy signature of your soul. Obviously your name is and because yeah, he's got that in his personality as well. It's a frequency that it feels like home. It feels like home. So yeah, even though it would have been quite sensitive from his birthday this year with all these 2s, yeah, this 5 would have made it a lot more palatable. But yeah, that 2020 sort of repeating, you know, but sort of broken up with this 21. Yes. I don't know what that would have been about, but yeah, it's like a repeating of 2020. Yeah, I'm not sure what that would have been about. Oh, I probably should have started this earlier. It's 10 o'clock at night. Not the brightest. I'll probably rewatch this, and then I might tag something on at the end if I can tease out what this is. Well, I could pull some cards, actually. That would work. In fact, I might do this one. So I just need a little help. And now. Okay. So I wonder what this 20 brought out from the year before. Well, they did try and mess with his finances last year, because it's like your foundation in 2020 with that 4. Whoa. Loosen your grip, coping mechanisms, density, addiction, let God in. But it was upside down. So yeah, he probably just lost his grip on, yeah, potentially finances, with that 4, because, you know, money is a very practical thing. and you know, you need it to support you in this life. You need it to retain your home and your foundations. And yeah, and I'm sure that he got removed in 2020. That would have thrown a spanner in the works. He would have been fine, but it would have been a bit of a pain in the ass, and they might have tried to do it again to him this year at some point. Yeah, lots of twos. Very sensitive energy. Yep. See the light by staying grounded. Lifting the veil. Question everything. Anything aligned must go. Oh, and actually, if I look at it from a different perspective, you've got a bit of a key code here. So you've got, oh yeah, okay, interesting. So he's got the Master 22 up here, right? And then if we go down here, he's got a Master 22 expressing itself. And then in the middle is a gateway for reset. So maybe that's what the energy is I'm picking up. I'm like, something. There's something here. What is it? Yeah, I think it was probably it's probably that master builder energy again from this year. That's interesting. But it because it has a 0 in the middle, if you utilize that Master 22 key code, because you've got 202. Yeah, he probably has come to a point of being in 0 point energy. It's like being with God and having like peace and power as well. I think probably it's not necessarily been difficulty, but like finishing things off from 2020. I mean, he was literally born for that year. You know, like all the work he's done has literally been born for that year. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he's been, you know, tying things up this year and yeah, just making sure that he dotted all his I's and crossed all his T's from 2020. Because that, yeah, I mean, literally, like, he was meant to be a leader last year. Literally. And his birthday's in April, you know? That was when it all fucking kicked off, you know? Like, March, April. It was, like, out the gate. And then he had that leadership energy from so early on in that year when it all started to get going. So, yeah. Wow. And actually, yeah, lots of 1 energy that year. Because he's, oh dear, I am getting tired. Good Lord. Well, maybe I should just wrap it up. Yeah, I actually have down here somewhere in white, so that you can't see it, I have his numerology for next year. But as I said, I'm not going to read that. I'm just not going to do it. You know, everyone is entitled to their secrets. You know, and like, I think, you know, the ultimate secret that you're entitled to is your future. So, you know, unless people want to know about it, or like they're someone that it doesn't really matter if you say what their future is, you know, like a celebrity that's has everything out there in the world. It's like, oh, who cares? Like, yeah, whatever. But not when it's someone who has a prominent position in the Great Awakening and changing this planet. Because, yeah, I wouldn't want to give away any information about, yeah, I wouldn't want to give anyone a bloody heads up on messing with him at all. Because I think, you know, the world is still a dangerous place. He will be fine though, because he's got these protecting him in prominent positions. But yeah, so I don't know what happened in 2019. That would have been interesting. Someone trying to take advantage there, because this was a 3 as well. And then, you know, 2020 was all about being the leader, new beginnings, bit difficult getting there and dealing with the 9 energy from this year. And then 2021 feels like a completely different energy. These two feel very intrinsically linked. I'm not sure why, but this year kind of feels like a bit of an outlier, like things really shifted. Yeah, so whatever the difficulty was in these 2 years was gone. It just gone in 2020. And I don't actually even think that these two are tied. I think what I was seeing was this 22 master gateway and the like a divine reset. Yeah, so if things shifted this year, it's because he used this master gateway to get to this reset. He master builder his way out of whatever was going on in these past years, and got to this divine 0 point reset. So like got there in the end. Oh dear. But yeah, lots of balance, freedom, movement, change, and he would have been super comfortable this year from his birthday. Yeah, that's all really. I'd love to tell you about his year coming up, but I'm not going to, because I want him to be safe and I don't want to give anyone any information that they could potentially use to mess with him or his life. Like, dude, he's done humanity huge service by using all the key codes, all the master numbers. He's used all of it, you know, and as I've said before, not everyone actually steps into what they're given. So yeah, honestly, I'm like pretty blown away. But yeah, I mean, he gets some incredible downloads, and like, I think people see him as quite the more analytical side of the 7, you know, but he is very intuitive and very sensitive, and yeah, I think he probably needs a lot of time alone, especially with those master numbers, you know, the 11, the 22, the extra 11, the 7. 5 is also a very big on channeling, so that is still quite a psychic number. Yeah, so he probably needs a significant amount of time alone to defrag and to like cleanse himself and like, yeah, just come back to himself rather than feeling all the vibes and getting like the smacking downloads into his head. It was like, that was wild. When that happened earlier, it was like, okay, lifted my head up, and as soon as it was like boom, just like a pound of energy and download, and just felt like, whoa, really dizzy. And dizzy's not even just the word, like my head just like swam. I was like, what the heck? That's not all that common, but I think he probably experiences that and fairly regularly, you know, at least enough in his life where probably he doesn't notice that much anymore because he's used to it. Oh dear. But yeah, you know, when I'm in people's energy, like people who have even more master energy than this, you feel it and you can get quite dizzy. Whereas, you know, like people with a 4 life path, just it comes out to a straight 4, not like a master builder 22 and then the potential for the 4. It's just so nice. It's just the most grounded. It feels like dad energy because it's very grounded and stable and it's like everyone's rock. But then, you know, you've got quite sensitive energy. You feel the high vibe of it, and and you feel what, because this is people's energy. Like your soul comes in on your birthday. It's your soul's energy. You wouldn't come in on that day. You wouldn't come into that family with that name unless it vibed right with your soul. So you can feel the energy that someone's soul is comfortable in. And so you feel the energy that they walk with every day. And, you know, this is just one aspect of it. You know, I tap into the energy of the numbers, but you can tap into someone's astrology. I don't know astrology. I've started learning, but I know nothing. But yeah, you know, it's one part of people's vibratory signature. It's one part of the fabric of their reality, but you can feel it. And yeah, like I'm still feeling like a little bit of a buzz, like thinking about it. It's like right in the middle of my head, but you know, then I can feel it at the back of my head, and oh, very cool, very cool. But yeah, I mean, it's been a pleasure to sit in Mr. Icke's energy and to look at how beautifully he has walked his life path and his name and just his full energy signature. And like, just he was born for these times. He was born for these times. And you know, I think he's done his soul proud. And when he graduates the Earth School for this cycle, I think he's going to be really proud. And I hope his soul comes back and enjoys the new Earth, because fuck mate, he did master build it.